Hello, how we doing today? My name is SpectrumDominus, and I'll be your predictor this evening. Today we're doing the NXT TakeOver 3 Brooklyn, TakeOver Brooklyn 3 predictions for tomorrow night's Brooklyn pay-per-view. Literally 24 hours. It is 7:57 Eastern Time. It's taking place 24 hours and 3 minutes from now. So this is my predictions for tomorrow night's event. I'm gonna start out by letting you know that I film these videos live on my Twitch channel. So unlike a lot of YouTubers, this video is gonna come off as a little more interactive. I have my Twitch viewers right here watching me now. They're all saying hi to you guys. You can come and join us on these videos. We do them every Friday night that there's a pay-per-view after. I'll be doing a Summerslam one right after this, so you can find that in the description below. And check out my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. And that will be in the description also. But let's get started with NXT Brooklyn. So I have a 5-card match list here. And I will be using the 5 matches that are listed on the Wikipedia site. Now, I use Wikipedia every time. I always bring out this information because I have never found Wikipedia to have a match listed that wasn't on the card. I have, however, in the past, found matches on Wikipedia that I didn't know about. So I was able to predict them, and then they showed up on the card. So I always check Wikipedia before I go, and I just do the matches in the order they have them listed there from the bottom to the championship match. So match number 1 they have is Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas. I keep going back and forth with this one. I feel pretty, not confident in the sense that I know what's going to happen, but pretty confident in my picks on how I would play out the pay-per-view and what I think they're doing with the pay-per-view, except for this match. It seems to me that Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, needs to start off his singles career with a win here. It would make a lot of sense. On the flip side of that, the whole storyline with Andrade Cien Almas, and now I think her name is Zelina Vega. She has him going in the right direction, and so I think that from that the storyline, Almas should be winning this match as well, which is, it's almost weird that they didn't kind of give both of these guys a throwaway match. So there's 2 ways that this could go, in my opinion, and the first one would be Zelina cheats to help Almas win, to get that win. That's the way I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to do a cheat thing. I do think that there's a chance they'll drag out this feud. Ciampa shouldn't be back until like March of next year, and thus, and that's the predicted date. So it'll probably be earlier than that to surprise us, but that means maybe January. It's not going to be this early. So there's no Ciampa option, meaning that they need to get Johnny into a feud. He has no feud. This came out of nowhere. So I feel like this is a feud builder. So having Ciampa win by cheating or get disqualified by just grabbing a chair and beating up Johnny, that's an option. That's a way to go. I think it's more likely that we saw Almas lose to No Way Jose on NXT last week or this week. I don't know. One of the, either last week or this week. And no, I think it was this week. And even though he lost, he came out looking stronger. He beat up No Way Jose. Vega yelled at him. And no. Actually, I changed my mind. He didn't lose to No Way Jose. He won. But there were times in the match like he looked like he was going to lose, and Vega was directing traffic out there. So I feel like she was very aggressive. She was very she was getting him into an aggressive mode, and I feel like a Johnny Gargano win, like a quick roll-up type win, where Almas isn't knocked out in the center of the ring, but he can be directed by Vega to attack him after the match, is the more likely scenario. So I'm putting my little check mark down on Johnny. They give Johnny a win in his first singles match. Theoretically, he has time to take some losses before he needs to win a bunch, before Ciampa comes back. But he's very loved. I feel like a win here is a good way to get his singles career rolling, and then he can take a beating from Almas just to get a feud going for him. So that's what I would do. That's how I would book it. I believe that's where they're going, something along those lines. The second match is Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami. I do like Hideo Itami a lot more since he's turned heel. He's doing a much better job. He was a very boring face to me. Not a huge Itami fan in the grand scheme of things. I like Aleister Black better, and if you go back and watch my takeover, where were we? Chicago last? No, Orlando. When Hideo Itami was in the main event versus Bobby Roode, I literally called him a placeholder. The reason he fought that match was because Bobby needed to get a win or two before he lost the title to someone that really mattered. And that's the same. Hideo's still there. He may eventually come up to the main roster as a cruiserweight. In fact, part of my predictions tonight are going to be based on, and we haven't heard anything, there's no official word as far as I know, but it's going to be based on a superstar shakeup. Maybe not Monday, Tuesday, but maybe a week. Maybe they'll announce it on Monday, Tuesday like they did after WrestleMania. They announce it on Monday that it'll happen the following week. But I suspect that there is a chance that Hideo will be coming up to be the next real challenger for Akira Tozawa in the Cruiserweight division. So I think he takes a loss here. I do not think he's going to be the guy who takes Aleister Black's undefeated streak. He takes a loss here. We probably see a shakeup. Going on the idea of a superstar shakeup after the SummerSlam, he is one of the ones called up to Raw, fights cruiserweights, and he's Akira Tozawa's next opponent, is what I believe. Maybe not next opponent, but he will be, his next serious opponent. He may fight TJP or something, or to pass the time. But just like he was a placeholder for Bobby Roode, someone else may be a placeholder for him, but he will eventually be Akira Tozawa's next opponent. And then they could put the title on him and give him a long run like they did Neville, have a heel Hideo with the Cruiserweight title. I think that's something that's good for the Cruiserweight division. So, then we have the 3 championship matches. The Authors of Pain are defending their title against Sanity, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane. Now, this is another case where I believe that this comes down to how it's going to play out based on the Superstar Shakeup. I think that if Sanity was staying in NXT, if they are staying in NXT, then giving them the win here is not a bad idea. They are getting to be very Wyatt-like in the fact that they can jump you and beat you up. They can talk a lot of smack, but they can't seem to beat anyone but Ty Dillinger. They have not won anything. So putting the belts on them usually negates all of that. You think of Jinder Mahal. Don't get me wrong. No one's sitting here going, wow, Jinder Mahal's a great wrestler now. But all of a sudden, we know he has the belt. We just ignore certain aspects and allow him. We don't buy it when he beats AJ Styles, but all of a sudden, we buy it when he beats Mojo Rawley. We buy it when he beats, the mid-carders because he's the world champion. We've just accepted that he's better than Ty Dillinger and Mojo Rawley and all these mid-card guys. And that is done by just putting a title on someone. He instantly is like, well, I don't buy it when he beats AJ. I don't buy it when he beats Randy. But I buy it when he beats Jack Swagger. I buy it when he beats these mid-card guys. So that is why that is something that they could do with Sanity. You put that belt on him, and it instantly negates a couple years now, a year plus, of just losing. So I think it'd be a great idea to put it on them if they're staying. And theoretically, they could do that and have the Authors of Pain come up to the main roster. That being said, Sanity's more polished than the Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain need more time. Authors of Pain run that tag team division. I see better matches with the Authors of Pain versus some of the upcoming tag teams like the Street Profits, Heavy Machinery, and most of those teams are face teams. So, not that Sanity couldn't play, aren't heels, they're heels and could play against them as well. It's just makes more sense for the Authors of Pain to keep those titles, to go against the Street Profits and teams like Heavy Machinery and the face teams that they have coming up. Sanity is going to lose this match, and then 2 weeks from now, or from this past Tuesday, will be the Superstar Shakeup, when we will find out that Sanity is the team that was messing with the Fandango. There we go. There's your. I'm giving you two here. I'm giving you who attacked Fandango and the fact that Sanity's losing and coming up to the main roster, going to SmackDown. That's what I have for that match. So then we have the next one is Asuka versus Ember Moon. Now, everyone tells me that this is obvious. All my viewers are like, yes, they got to keep it on Asuka. Asuka needs to come to the main roster undefeated with the belt. And all that means is that Asuka came up to the main roster not having... First of all, it's nice that her undisputed streak would be intact if that happens. But that's like saying letting Undertaker retire having not beat the streak. Years ago, before the streak was ended, I said, the streak will end. He will not retire with the streak intact. And the reason why is you lose the value of the streak if you beat it. Now, one could argue, well, someone on the main roster can beat it. True, but who on the main roster needs to beat it? Who on the main roster is going to beat Asuka that needs to get that over? Get that part where it's like, I'm the one that beat Asuka. If you get Asuka to go to the main roster and you strip that belt of her, then what you do is you say, Ember Moon, you were not good enough. In fact, all of you women, none of the women here are good enough. Let's bring in some new women and make a paper champion. And that is never good. The paper champion thing, when you have to strip someone, is never good. I've discussed that when we discuss why people don't win championships when they come back from injury. Why Daniel Bryan shouldn't have won the Royal Rumble the year that Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. And that all comes into the making of a paper champion deludes the belt and causes this I don't believe it scenario. Let her drop the belt to Ember Moon. Ember Moon becomes the champion, and Asuka can come up to the main roster with one loss and still the most dominant female in the history of the sport. That doesn't change anything to the outlook. Shinsuke and Finn Balor's reputation when they came up was fine. They didn't have to have undefeated careers in NXT to make the spectacle big when they came up. And neither does Asuka. So then the question becomes, does she drop it here or does she drop it in the future? And I think that now is the time that she drops it. Ember Moon needs to win this title now. I called Ember Moon as the winner back before their first match. They had their first match. I said she won't win it here. Asuka's going to cheat, and maybe Asuka will lose, but Asuka's going to retain the title. And she did cheat, but she didn't lose. She won because of the cheating. And then I said, and maybe Asuka loses it in the Four Corners match by Ember beating someone else, so Asuka never really gets beat. But the whole point was, we're going to drag this out a while, and then Ember Moon's going to win it closer towards the end of the year. Well, now we're closer towards the end of the year. We could go a little deeper. They could have Asuka win this or lose this by disqualification again, and then do it at the Survivor Series takeover. But I think it's more likely that this Ember fighting back through the pain, through the injury, and finally taking it from Asuka, who's been doing everything in her power to avoid Ember Moon. I think that wraps up the story. It makes more sense. Now, does Asuka come to the main roster now? I think she could. Again, I think that this is a third member of the NXT roster that could come up to the Superstar Shakeup. Why? Because Ember Moon could fight versus Billie Kay and Peyton Royce and Ruby Red for a month or two, really a month and a half, and then you have an influx of women coming in from the Mae Young tournament. Now, they're not all coming in, but we watched with the cruiserweights. We didn't get everyone from the tournament, but we got 7, 8, 9 people. And I think that we may get the same situation where we're getting 5, 6, 7 women added to that NXT roster, maybe even one added to the main roster, but there's no reason for Asuka to stay down at this point. So again, Tuesday, 2 weeks from now, or a week and a half from now, Asuka may be coming up to the main roster. I think it's very likely. If she doesn't come up now, then she may stay down and get her rematch at TakeOver in Survivor Series. The distance between Survivor Series, SummerSlam and Survivor Series seems to be like the smallest. So those two takeovers are closest together. And so they wouldn't have to put much storyline between then and Survivor Series to finish that story off. So she could get a rematch. But if you give her a rematch, then she has to lose. It's better for the Asuka character to take the loss and go with her one loss rather than giving her a rematch and making her take a second loss. So I don't suspect that she will take a second loss. I think she loses now and goes up on Tuesday, or she wins now and loses it at Survivor Series, but still to Ember Moon. So the final match I have is the main event, there's no world designation, the NXT Heavyweight Championship. And that is Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre. Now, if you've ever been in my channel, we talk a lot about the format, the way things play out on both NXT and with 205 Live. And they threw a wrench in the 205 Live thing. I really thought Austin Aries was going to win that title based on the NXT format, and he didn't. But then Aries was like out of the company instantly, so maybe that's why that happened. I do believe that it's possible that Aries was supposed to win that title originally. But there's this format that has taken place since, and I'm gonna say things out of order just because I don't always have the best memory. But since about Sami Zayn winning the title, Sami Zayn wins the title from Neville, and on that same show, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens has his first match. He makes his first in-ring appearance. And it's not going to always be first appearance, but it's going to be right around that time period throughout the whole thing. Because Kevin Owens ended up losing his title to Finn Balor. And Finn Balor was announced as part of NXT pretty much the same time that Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn for the title. And then Finn Balor lost his title to Samoa Joe, who, if you go back and look, made his first appearance when Finn Balor was winning the championship. And then Samoa Joe beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Now they had this thing where Shinsuke won it and then Samoa Joe won it back. But when that whole thing was settled, the dust was settled, and Shinsuke won that title, he won the title the same time Bobby Roode made his appearance in NXT. And guess who made their appearance on the day that Bobby Roode beat Shinsuke Nakamura for the title? You guessed it. Drew McIntyre returned to WWE. He was in the audience the day Bobby Roode won the title. Now, if anyone else picked up on that, if someone was talking about that, if it was all over the internet, then I would feel like there's a chance they may swerve us. I don't think anyone's even picked up on that. I've talked about it a million times. I've never seen it in a video. I've never seen it on a list. I've never seen anyone mention it anywhere. But it's kind of happened all the way back from Sami Zayn's title reign. So that's why in every one of these prediction shows, whether Bobby Roode's defending against Roderick Strong, Hideo Itami, whether Shinsuke's defending against, someone else in the middle, I always pick the champion. Because I know who I think they're losing it to the day they win the title. So, do I think Drew McIntyre is winning it here? I would have probably said no if I had done this prediction show a month ago. I would have said no. What they're gonna do is they're gonna do something where Bobby wins it very shady, and then Drew gets a rematch, and maybe it's a triple threat rematch at the Survivor Series Takeover, and Drew wins it then. But it's still, he'll get a rematch. But Drew is going to end up walking with the title, was my opinion. However, the way NXT has played out the last couple days, and other news, this title is changing hands at TakeOver. Now, Rude, however, I don't believe will be going to the main roster, and here's why. Drew Galloway is going to beat Bobby Roode. It could be done a number of ways. If Drew Galloway does not beat Bobby Roode, it will be because Roderick Strong comes and interferes. Drew gets disqualified, or Strong tries to hit Bobby, but he accidentally hits Galloway, costing him. If he does not win, it will be Strong's fault. However, I think it's slightly more likely that Strong comes down. Now, we see this a lot. It's a break in logic. It doesn't make much sense. And we saw this as recently as this Tuesday night SmackDown. Whereas Baron Corbin cashes in with the briefcase, and he's going for Shinsuke Nakamura. He's going for Jinder Mahal's title. And John Cena decides to hop on the apron and screw over Baron Corbin. Why? John can sit there, twiddle his thumbs, and go Baron, go. Baron beats Jinder Mahal, and now all of a sudden, John Cena's match at SummerSlam is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Why would John Cena screw Baron Corbin and make it so that he can't get the championship shot? That's a break in logic, and it happens all the time in wrestling. And that I think we're gonna get one of those breaks in logic here, because what's gonna happen is the current situation is Roderick Strong, because he beat Drew Galloway on the NXT this past week, he gets a match with Bobby Roode on NXT for the title if he's a champion. And if he's not a champion, he still gets a match against Bobby Roode. And they made a big deal of stringing all that information and making sure you understood that that was the case 2 weeks ago. I will fight you. I'll even put my title up. Well, you can't put your title up if you don't have it. He's like, well, I don't care. I'll fight him either way. And Roderick Strong says, I don't need the title. I just need to fight him. They made sure you knew there's a fight. They're going to fight. It'll be for the title if Roode has the title. It won't be for the title if Roode don't have the title. So I think Strong's going to come down. He's going to end up costing Bobby Roode the match, even though it costs him a title shot. And that is their way to put the title on Drew, put Bobby in a fight with Strong, and get him instantly away from the championship. And Galloway could then fight the next contender, whoever that happens to be. Now, I don't know who the next contender is going to be. Drew Galloway will fight. He'll get some, and I'm going to list some people, but most of the people I list are going to be faces, because I can't think of any heels right now. But he's going to fight Cassius Ohno, and then he's going to get a fight with Aleister Black, and maybe not Aleister Black, but he's going to fight 2 or 3 people for the title, and then he's going to lose his title to the man who's sitting in the front row tonight at NXT TakeOver and signs a WWE contract. The newest member of the NXT roster, Adam Cole, will be there tonight, tomorrow night at NXT. He will be the next, not the next one, because Drew will be the next champion. Adam Cole will be the following champion. Predicting it now this far in advance, because that's how it works in NXT so far. I'll be wrong eventually. I know I'll be wrong eventually, but if I keep predicting it and it keeps happening, then I only can, it takes once to be wrong. But I've gotten 7 or 8 times right now just by predicting that and sticking with it. So that is what I've got for you. That is more than NXT predictions. That tells you who's winning every match and who's going up. At least 3 different, 4, 5, 6 different people that'll be on WWE programming starting next week, week and a half. Also, the next champion, the next fight for Roode. All of that information is there for you. That is how NXT plays out. What do you think about that? Leave your information in the comments. Tell me what I got right. Tell me what I got wrong. You don't really need to tell me what I got right and what I got wrong after the fact. Tell me what you think I got right and what I think I got wrong in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. Check out the description for my Twitch channel. We do all sorts of wrestling-related content on there. We play WWE Supercard, WWE Slam, Card Trader, WWE 2K17, about to be playing 2K18. We do box box openings, prediction shows. We watch Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown live. We don't watch them on stream, but we each watch them and we discuss while it's going on. So if you're looking for some friends to watch the television shows with, come and check out the channel. We all discuss as it's going on. But I'll be back. Check out the description for the SummerSlam prediction video, as I'm doing that right after this. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.